everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how I created this sugar skull and roses design. I'm working on my Glamerliz practice hand. I've already applied some tips and a clear base, and now I'm coming straight in with the design. Onto the pointer finger, and I'm going to be doing a French nail. So I'm coming in with CJP birthday suit to create my extended nail bed. I've placed that bead of acrylic down and I've blended out the back of the bead, and then I'm just using the sides of my brush to create the shape of the smile line. I'm trying to keep it as neat as possible, however I will come in and file it crisp anyway. Happy Valentine's Day, by the way, guys. I hope that you all have a lovely day, whether you're celebrating it or not. I was hoping to get a few more Valentine's designs up on my channel. However, I got an ear infection and it just knocked me for six, to be honest. This set does have a little bit of a Valentine's Day vibe with the sugar skulls and the roses. However, because I only done this yesterday, I didn't want to do anything with too much of a Valentine's vibe because it's a little bit late. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video anyway. So I'm coming in with my cuticle bead now. I've placed that down at the cuticle area and I'm just feathering this over the previous bead of acrylic. My main focus with this bead is to get that cuticle area as neat as possible. I'm then going to come in with another spool bead of acrylic to build up the apex area ever so slightly. So as you can see, I just pat that out and blend it in and then pull it down. And then I will leave this to set before filing it crisp towards the end of the set. Then the middle and ring finger are going to be pretty much the same because these are the two nails that I'll be applying those water decals to. So I'm coming in with CJP Snow White mixed with some crystal glass just to create a softer white, and I'm applying a thin layer of this to the nails. I don't need to worry about getting full-on coverage because the nail is going to be covered by the water decals and glitter anyway. I just wanted there to be a base down, and I felt like a white base was best for the decals that I was going to be using. So I'm placing that bead of acrylic down right near the cuticle area, using the tip of my brush to nudge it up as close as I can without touching the skin, and then I feather it down towards the free edge. You can see that I'm using my brush, the tip of my brush, as a barrier to stop that acrylic touching what would be the cuticle and skin. You don't want to get any on the cuticles or the skin because it will lift. And then I'm just coming in with another bead of acrylic, blending out the back of it and then pulling that down to cover the tip. Same as before, it doesn't need to have perfect coverage in this set. On the little finger, I'm starting off with a thin wash of birthday suit just because I'm using quite a chunky mixed glitter and I wanted there to be that nude background. But as you can see, I'm keeping this as thin as possible because I don't want to add too much bulk to this nail. The glitter I'm using is quite chunky and then it needs to be encapsulated, and the nails aren't too long, so you don't want them to end up too thick. The glitter I'm using is Fairy Tale from Charlie's Nail Art. This is one of their Valentine's glitters. However, I personally think it would be perfect for spring because of those pastel shades that are in there. It's quite a chunky mix, so it is a little trickier to work with. You do need to make sure you're nudging those pieces around until you get them where you want them to be. However, it has got that finer glitter base to it, so it's still quite versatile. Like as you can see here, I've picked up just some of the finer pieces and I'm getting them along my side walls just to make sure that the nail is completely covered. And then I will encapsulate this at the end. These water decals that I'm using are also from Charlie's Nail Art. I originally ordered these at Halloween, but I didn't use them, so I thought they were perfect for a Valentine's vibe set as well. Quite like the sugar skulls, and I know that people use them all year round. So I've soaked that in some water for 10 seconds and then the decal just peels off the back of the backing paper. And then here you can see I'm just patting and pressing it into place. I did struggle doing this with my gloves on, to be honest. it's really hard when you've got your gloves on to feel what you're doing, and I did struggle a little bit getting the creases out, but I just persevered and I got it nice and flat, or as flat as I could in the end. It looks like I'm being quite rough with the decal because the video is sped up, but I'm actually being quite gentle because you don't want to be too rough with them, as you can cause them to tear. And once I've got that in place, I will just leave it to dry before doing anything else to that nail. So I'm going to move on and do exactly the same with the water decal on this nail. Now, as you can see on the sheet, these are square water decals, but I've cut them out, so I've just got the pieces of the water decal that I need, simply because I wanted to blend these in with some glitter. So that's why you can see that the decal looks a bit of a funky shape now compared to what it looked like on the sheet. Again, I'm just pressing that down into place until I'm happy that it's all lying nice and flat and I've got as many of those creases out as I can. And then here I'm just going to come in and snip off that bit of excess there. And then I'm going to be using this pretty glitter that I don't know where it's from. It's another one of those glitters I've got in the bottom of my nail drawer. Doesn't hardly ever get used and it's got no name. But I really wanted a glitter where the colours tied in with the decals. And this one, I just felt like it worked. So yeah, that's what I'm using. And I'm picking this up with a bead of clear acrylic. And I'm just putting these in the spaces where the decal isn't, and then just sort of blending it over the decal. You do need to be really careful when you've got monomer on your brush that you're not touching the water decals too much, because it can cause them to melt away. So as you can see, I'm applying that glitter, but I'm being really careful where I nudge it around. Just nice light strokes. And then I'm just blending it out a little bit so it didn't look like too much of a harsh line between the glitter and the decal. And then I'm pretty much going to do exactly the same on this nail. I did pick up a little bit too much clear acrylic here, so I just moved some down to the bottom of the nail. This nail was probably my favourite nail. I loved how the glitter and the decal, it just really worked. I really liked this nail. And as you can see, I've only got that thin white acrylic layer underneath, and then I've got my decal and my glitter, so I will then encapsulate these in clear acrylic as well. I do show you how I do that when it gets to that stage. And then I'm going to come in and show you guys how I encapsulate my water decals. So first of all, I'm starting off by just using some monomer on my brush. I'm running my brush along the sides of the nail just to melt away any of that excess decal, and so that there's a thin edge that's not got nothing on it, so that I can fully encapsulate. Then I'm picking up a large bead of crystal glass and I'm placing that down at the cuticle area. Now the trick when encapsulating your decals is you don't want your brush or your monomer to touch the decal directly, because it just melts the image away, but it doesn't, the acrylic doesn't do that. So as you can see, when I've placed that down, I'm patting and pressing out my acrylic, but I'm making sure that my brush doesn't come into contact with the water decal. So I find it easier to do if you basically work with a large bead to begin with that's a slightly wetter consistency, so it flows down the nail easy without too much pressing. And then I just come in with a little bit more at the tip area and blend that back, just so that that tip was fully encapsulated as well. And then if you need to come in with any more acrylic, you can. I'm just coming in with another small bead here just to build up that apex area slightly and to make sure all that glitter at the cuticle area was encapsulated. I then encapsulated the other two nails off camera, and here I'm coming in and filing my smile line nice and crisp. So to do this, I'm using a 100 grit file and I hold it flat up against that acrylic as best as I can. I just find that this way you get a nice crisp finish. And I use the dust that builds up as a bit of a guide to show the shape of the nail bed. And then I can just sort of see where might need a little bit more filing. Now this nail didn't go 100%. I wasn't like 100% happy with this smile line. I've certainly done better ones, but it was still pretty crisp and sharp, and that's what the file does for you. I'm then using that same soft white acrylic to create the free edge of the nail. Now I didn't pick up a big enough bead of acrylic here, so I did have to come in and touch up the sides of the nail a little bit just to make sure that the acrylic went all the way down into those wings. But I'm just making sure that that area is fully covered. It doesn't matter if your white goes over your nail bed, because when you file the nail you will reveal your smile line that you've created. So here you can see I just come in with some more just to get right down into those wings. I then went off camera and filed all of the nails into shape, gave them a quick buff with my buffing block and cleaned away all of the dust, and this is what they looked like. I'm then going to come in and do some stamping. So I'm using this plate from Born Pretty. This is their Valentine's Day plate, and I left this zoomed out just so you could see how I stamp. So I'm applying my polish, scraping it, rolling my stamper over the top, and then I'm going to place that image down onto the nail. I'm using the Beauty Big Bang Jelly Stamper and Nicole's Diary stamping polishes today. These are what I use most of the time for stamping, to be honest. However, I have just bought some new ones to try from somewhere else. So then I'm coming in with the black and I'm doing exactly the same as I did with the pink. I'm just going to slightly overlap these images, and what you could see I was doing there, I was just cleaning off some polish that I didn't want with a lint roller. So as you can see, I just ever so slightly overlapped the black over the pink rose. Cleaning off my plate again with some acetone. I do leave it a minute to dry, and then I'm cleaning off my stamper with that same lint roller. And then I'm going to do exactly the same on the little finger. So you do need to work quite quickly when you're stamping. I don't clean anything in between. I literally apply my polish, scrape, put the scraper down, pick up the stamper, flick it over straight onto the nail. You do need to work quickly. It does take some practice, and it does take finding products and stampers that work for you. Everyone has their personal preferences. And then it's time to come in and do the absolute best bit, which is top coating. So I decided I wanted the middle two nails to be glossy. So I'm coming in with my CJP Tack Free Top Gloss and applying a nice thin even layer to both of these nails. I then wanted the pointer finger and the little finger to be matte. So I'm using my Femme Fatale's Satin sheets for those two nails. Now with this matte top coat, you do need to float it over, especially over the top of stamping, as it does cause the image to bleed a little bit. I'm not sure if most matte top coats do that, as another one I tried did the same. But yeah, if you just float it on, it avoids that happening. I did forget here, and you can see I sort of just brushed it on to begin with. And if you look at the final result, you do see that the black has bled ever so slightly. But hey, these things happen. I still was really pleased with how this set turned out. So once I've top coated all of the nails, I'll pop these in my LED lamp to cure for 60 seconds. And then whilst I'm finishing up, guys, I'll just take the moment to say thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, then don't forget to like and comment below. If you're watching and you're new to my channel, please don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss a video. And then this is what the finished result looked like. I thought they looked super cute, so I hope you guys enjoyed them. Thanks for watching again, and I shall see you all again soon. Bye bye.